All
Once
right, so
again, we do apologize for the black boxes. We tried before to get rid of them completely, but they may keep popping up.
we'll try our best to guide you through it. And yeah. So professionalism in the workplace. That's the presentations today. Next slide. So the description is professionalism in the workplace refers to a conduct and behavior and attitudes of individuals in the work environment that aligns with the standards and expectations of their profession. It encompasses the range of qualities, including reliability, accountability, integrity, and respect for others, and a commitment to excellence. Professionalism involves effective communication, maintaining appropriate boundaries, and adhering to ethical guidelines. It also includes being punctual, dressing appropriately, and continuously improving one's skills. Demonstrating professionalism fosters a positive work environment, building trust among colleagues, and contributes to the overall success of an organization. So this is just, we are going to watch a couple of videos that's going to encompass ideas and how we should look at ourselves and maybe even how organizations might want to add in addition to their professionalism for their employees. Next slide. So a lot of us, when we understand business, we just think it's a place where we're going to make money. The term refers to an organization, enterprising entity engaged in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. The purpose of business is to organize some of the economic products, goods, or services in a person's regular occupation, profession, or trade. And then the practice of making one's living by engaging in commerce. So that's just a general definition that a lot of us don't even think to consider. So here I just wanted to share the definitions of professionalism. And so it's the adherence to ethical and behavioral standards, and it's displaying a high level of competency, integrity, and respect. Professionalism also encompasses taking responsibility for one's actions and maintaining a positive attitude and continuously seeking development. Work ethic is means you have means you have ethic in which you hold yourself to a high standard, how you want to present yourself, how you want people to see you. And punctuality is something that we, especially in the work world, being on time. And in most cases, it should be 5 or 10 minutes before you clock in. So how we come to that door ready to work plays a huge role in our professionalism. Next. So this video is how to be professional in the workplace, kind of like a one-on-one.
Then guess what? Being professional is the key. And in this video, I'm going to share with you my top 6 professional tips to help you. So consider this your professional tip for the day. One of the surefire ways to be professional at work is to impress your boss. And stay tuned for the end of this video because I'm going to give you a free checklist on how to do just that. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Adriana Girdler. Welcome to my channel. I'm a business productivity specialist with over 20 years in the business. And I can guarantee you this, if you implement my tips, your professional reputation will skyrocket. Now, who wouldn't want that? So let's get started. Be dressed to impress. Now, I would like to say that people don't judge, but they do. So you really do have to take a look at your appearance. So when you're at the office, be extremely professional, understand what the policy is, dress accordingly. So whether that's dressing up or dressing down because you are more casual in your office, that's okay. Just ensure that you're not in ripped clothes, even though it may be stylish, I get it, but you really got to think about the bigger picture, right? You have different types of people who think of things differently. Just be really clean and neat. Like the adage goes, don't dress for the job you have, dress for the job you want. I know it seems a little bit superficial, but people do judge. So if you really want to skyrocket your professional career, Think big, go big, dress to impress. Be work focused. There are tons of distractions at work that can really suck our time. Now, I'm not saying that having a break is a bad thing. In fact, I think it's a really good thing. It actually helps us with our productivity when we take multiple short breaks. It keeps our energy levels high. But when you do take that break, don't get distracted. Don't go surfing, don't do other things, because here's the thing with open office concepts, people do not know what you're doing. And if they happen to walk by you or peek over your shoulder, they may see you surfing. Now, yeah, you're on a break. It's legit. It's all good, but they don't know that. And therefore that impression sticks in their mind like, well, they're not working. So on that note, focus on work-related stuff in case that happens. If you are in your lunch hour, go in a corner somewhere with your laptop, hide away so people can't see that stuff. Because guess what? You still have a life and you're allowed at lunch to do what you need to do at lunch. But again, just be focused on the work stuff. Be aware of how people are coming around you in your environment and really focus on the work-related elements. Don't be the office gossip. I know it is really easy to get sucked into some really juicy stuff, but if you are listening to gossip or you are giving it, it is totally going to ruin your reputation. I have a really good video on how to avoid office gossip. I'm telling you, you do not want to be part of this. It just wrecks reputations. People remember more of what you talked about behind people's back than sometimes what you did. So that being said, I want you to run away from gossip, not walk. Be on time. This is one of the easiest ways to really show your professional reputation. Arriving 5 minutes early for meetings, or ensuring that everything is set up if you're running a meeting so that when people walk in you can start right away is huge. They know that you're serious and that really benefits you personally. Now, if your organization is not an organization that's on time, don't fall into that trap, okay? Please don't. Just stay on time. You'll be surprised. People will start and appreciate the fact that you do it, and that's all you have to be worried about is that they see that you're doing it and your professionalism is going to skyrocket. Be positive. I want you really to analyze how you come across to people. Some people actually are extremely negative without realizing that they are. It is huge for you to start thinking in a more positive light. So don't complain all the time. And if you have legitimate complaints, which by the way is what happens in business all the time, you need to come up with solutions. So when you talk to your boss and you're complaining about something, just don't kind of dump it on them. Give them the issue. Okay, so you're upset about something and you just did it in a way where you're doing one-on-one your boss. Cool, it's a safe environment, but provide a solution. That shows that you're thinking strategically. Not only that, try to put a smile on your face. It's proven that when we have smiles on our face, our disposition changes, but it also is going to impact people around you. Be kick-ass good. Yes, I'm telling you, be kick-ass good. Professionals get the job done. So how do you do this? I want you to be accountable. That's a big thing. Ensure that you are delivering on everything that you promise to deliver. Be on time. So if you're asked to deliver something by this date, make sure you get it done. Who cares what the rest of the organization does? It is about you and your professionalism. Take a little bit of time when you're doing your report. Spend that time combing through it, making sure your spelling and grammar, which by the way is one of my kryptonites, is really good and on target, because you know what? People do judge that. So it is your job. That is what you're paid to do, and all professionals know that, and they go the extra mile. So think of that. I want you to be kick-ass good. Be accountable for everything that you are responsible for. Now that you know all the steps for being professional, I want you to take a look at this checklist on how to wow your boss. That is the next step. You can grab it from the link below. That being said, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with everyone that you know who could definitely use these tips, because who doesn't want to be more professional at work? In the comments below, please share your professional tips. Until the next video, see you later.
All right. This pretty much sums and wraps up. It was relatively fast paced, but this is what we're diving into, and something we could bring back with our coworkers, supervisors, along with our peers, just to keep things in mind and how to continuously self-grow. Next slide. So punctuality and tardiness. So punctuality is crucial in business, for it demonstrates respect for others' time, reliability, and professionalism. Being on time for meetings and deadlines can foster trust, enhances productivity, and sets a positive tone for collaboration. And tardiness can disrupt the workflow. It strains relationships and creates a negative impression of one's commitment and work ethic, potentially impacting career opportunities and business success. I know we've worked with people, sometimes we've come in late, some of us, uh, or, we just see other people not pulling their weight. And I think we all have a idea of how this affects us in our workplace. So keep this in mind if we're trying to move up in the company. If we are working with somebody else in a group project, let's try and avoid tardiness. And if we cannot avoid tardiness, have an open line of communication. Let those you're working with know, and just try not to make this a habit as well, because as in the video said, people are paying attention to that. Next slide. So how does professionalism affect the workplace? So as we kind of said, it affects its effective communication. It enhances communication, excuse me, which is effective communication fosters transparency and clarity within the teams, but also just allows for a better work environment because we're communicating effectively. It promotes collaboration and understanding, and for misunderstandings, and for errors. And also, communication provides regular feedback and and should create an open dialogue to encourage innovative and adaptability to your work ethic. Positive work culture. It's a supportive work environment, enhances employee satisfaction and retention. Positive culture encourages teamwork and boosts morale, leading to increased productivity. And it also attracts talent and creates a sense of belonging amongst the employees, and creates credibility. And this consists in reliable communication builds trust with clients and colleagues. It demonstrates expertise and integrity, and enhances the organization's reputation. And then credibility strengthens the relationship, leading to more opportunities for collaboration and business growth. It affects conflict resolution. So, proactivity communication strategies help identify and address conflicts early. Effective conflict resolution techniques promote a harmonious workplace and prevents escalations. And resolving disputes constructively fosters stronger relationships and encourages a culture of respect. Career advancement. Strong communication skills are crucial for networking and personal growth. Demonstrating leadership through effective communication can lead to promotions and new opportunities. Engaging in positive work culture and resolving conflicts effectively enhances one's personal reputation and career trajectory. So these are some of the ways that our professionalism will and can affect our workplace. Next. So why is it important to conduct yourself professionally? So a professional workplace attitude appearance allows employees to take pride in their work and improve workers' performance. It solidifies the professionalism of the service. And managers who have professionally set up an appropriate example of encouraging their people to conduct themselves in a manner that supports company-wide success. So these are why it's important, because it helps keep, that saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Well, if we could be professional in all aspects of the work that we do, the whole company is as strong and is willing to operate to its optimal potential. Next. This is the opposite.
When at work, it is important to behave in a way that is most conducive to safety and support for service users and coworkers alike. This involves avoiding certain behaviors that may make people feel unsafe. Take a look at these examples of inappropriate behavior in the workplace and think about the type of environment they create. Peer workers Jeff and Farah see a client enter the safe consumption site whom they have never seen before. They immediately turn to each other and make racialized comments in hushed tones. Learning moment. There is a zero tolerance policy toward any behavior that could be harmful to service users, including the use of discriminatory language. Be sure to treat people with respect. Momo was so excited to run into their best friend Theo while out on an outreach shift. Theo mentions that he is really stressed out. They end up having a great chat, and Theo is so grateful for Momo's listening ear. As a token of his gratitude, he hands Momo one of his joints. Learning moment. Peers may not offer or accept tokens of appreciation and bribery while on the job. David is good pals with everyone at work. He feels so comfortable that sometimes he playfully teases his colleagues. When his colleague Amber walks by, David makes a sexualized comment regarding what she is wearing. Amber feels uncomfortable and leaves the room. Learning moment. Sexualized language and unsolicited comments about service users' physical appearance are strictly prohibited. You are there to support, not to objectify. While working at the OPS, Paul sees his ex-friend Amir come in, whom he just had a big fight with a few days earlier. He feels anger rising inside of his chest. Since Paul is the only one working, Amir comes up to him for help. Paul averts his gaze. Learning moment. Personal grudges must be kept separate from your professional work, no matter how big. Your personal life should not interfere with providing the best possible support to clients as a peer worker. These examples demonstrate how inappropriate workplace behavior may not be so obvious, since the personal and professional lives of peer workers are so intertwined. As such, it is important that we regularly reflect upon what is appropriate in the workplace and what is most supportive for our service users. It is through recognizing inappropriate workplace behavior and actively working to avoid it that we can create the safest, most supportive environment for service users possible.
All right, so that video gave us a few examples of how and why doing or behaving in certain situations can affect our work. So we got a chance to see some of the inappropriate aspects of how lack of professionalism will affect your workplace. Next slide. So lack of professionalism will decrease productivity. You'll have more people calling out. You'll have more opportunities to be sitting with management trying to de-escalate a situation that potentially could have been solved without management. Lack of professionalism creates a negative work culture where people don't feel safe, they don't feel valued, they don't feel respected. Lack of professionalism can damage your reputation. It can also damage the organization's reputation. Remember, your employees are an extension of the company on and off the clock, especially if they're advertising where they work. While in the building, once again, your behavior from language to dress will impact how others see you, from your employer to the families that we are serving. Lack of professionalism creates increased conflicts. You will see, and I know some of us might have, and coming up at some point of our life, seen what toxic work environment has to offer, and there tends to be a bit more bickering, more conflicts, more people not willing to work together. And lastly, it could lead to legal and financial risks. Lack of professionalism on any part of the ladder in which we work can put the company or yourself in legal and financial harm, where you have to protect yourself and have to spend tons of money to prevent defamation. And once you have that negative thought in your head, or someone has that about you, well, your company's probably losing money. We're losing the ability to provide services. You also might lose your ability to have a job or work in a similar field. Next slide. So this is kind of a generalized question. If you want, you could come off mute, or you could put it in the chat. What would classify as inappropriate behavior to you? As the video a while back stated, sometimes when people are so close together, things being said or the way that you behave might not seem inappropriate. However, it can be. So anyone can put in the chat, or what's inappropriate to you. And then you can also answer a few of the other ones if you choose to. I'll give you a couple minutes. You don't have to answer all three. You could choose one of the three to provide feedback for. Can you think of a time you've witnessed negative or inappropriate behavior? If so, how did it make you feel? And how did it affect your work environment? And then if you have not experienced any negative or inappropriate behaviors firsthand, how do you believe it would affect you and your environment? So Stacy said, I believe it's inappropriate for gossiping, accepting gifts. We have sexual relations with supervisors and clients for sure. We have a closed personal relationship with the caregiver, excuse me. When people talk about other peers, very uncomfortable. Rose stated that. Cursing, whispering, um, excuse me, they're coming in fast. Dramatic facial expressions can make people in a discussion feel uncomfortable and not trustworthy. Yep. Gossiping, negative emotions, door slamming, witnessed before. It made the office very uncomfortable to know that one coworker was upset and angry, and a staff member was cleaning the fish tank and in the bathroom with the youth. I can see that, yes. And supervisor not taking people aside to discuss issues, make it seem like a group discussion rather than an individual issue, causes poor morale. Yep. Inappropriate comments and coming closer without consent, bad talking about clients between each other just to gossip, and sexual assault, quid pro quo situations are extremely toxic. Yes. I mean, we don't have to go any further. Everyone kind of has experience and has an idea of what it is to have witnessed or understanding what inappropriate behavior looks like. Next slide. So, what can we do to operate effectively in the workplace? One of the biggest things we could look at is our self management. And this is a process of managing ourselves and taking responsibility and ownership for our own behaviors and well being. Enhance communication and collaboration. We must foster open, transparent communication channels and work on active listening and encourage collaboration among team members to build trust and to ensure everyone is aligned on the same goals and expectations. We want to develop emotional intelligence and adaptability, cultivate self awareness and empathy. We must practice emotional regulations to better manage relationships and navigate workplace dynamics and respond effectively to the challenges and changes that we are exposed to. We want to prioritize time management and accountability. Organize your tasks effectively. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Set clear priorities and meet your deadlines. And then take responsibility again for your actions and outcomes to maintain productivity and to contribute positively to the team's success. We want to set clear goals. So we establish specific measurable objectives to guide daily tasks to ensure alignment with the overall organization goals or the goals that you must complete per a project you are working on. Foster open communication. It's a workplace, so your conversations and what needs to be discussed should be transparent and respectful amongst the team members and management. And we want to promote collaboration and minimize misunderstandings. I say embrace your time management. We should utilize your tools and techniques to prioritize our tasks, make sure we get those done on time. Usually, if it's easy and fast, get them out the way. If it's fast enough, then you have a bigger project. Managing that project, the bigger project's time, set certain goals for those. And that way you will complete each task on time, and you won't be overwhelmed, and prevent burnout. And then this is for even with our peers, provide constructive feedback. Offer regular constructive feedback to your colleagues. Foster an environment of growth and improvement. We're all in the same team. So let's continue to work with each other, build each other up. And if we see areas of improvement, pull each other's coats, because we're on the same team and we're all in the same line of work. And we can only do better and grow better together. So less work if someone else has to continue to pick up slack. If there was something you could help train or teach someone to do moving forward. Excuse me. Next slide. So business etiquette. Business etiquette refers to the set of rules and behaviors govern interactions and conducts within a professional environment. This is something I came up with actually before I was doing this. I wanted to work with youth because a lot of them go through school, graduate school, go straight to college or trade, but do not understand the inner workings of what a business etiquette would look like, or what etiquette is, period. So it also encompasses various aspects such as communication, dress code, punctuality, respect, and professionalism. So if we adhere to proper business etiquette, for it is crucial for creating a positive, productive atmosphere, and it builds strong relationships for the individual and the company to achieve success. Next slide. So this next part, we will discuss what's business casual. This is pertaining to our dress codes. And even if your organization is relaxed, we should still hold ourselves accountable to make sure that we look presentable and appropriate. Next. So business casual is a dress code that involves wearing traditional business attire with a couple of relaxed tweaks here and there. So wearing black or beige khaki pants or slacks with a blouse or polo, but without a tie, it would be considered a business casual. Um, uh, Females have a similar attire. They might not wear polos, but business jackets. They wear pants. So you have your business skirts, um, but just follow through with your management and your employee handbook to see what's appropriate, and pay attention to when they might have dress down Fridays, and even that. What does that look like for you? And make sure that you are presentable. Next. So professional dress code is kind of what you see in this picture. Generally, for men, would it often involve a tie with or without a blazer, but long sleeve button down, or a polo with a tie, or short sleeve button down. Generally, women, or those who identify as, would wear similar attire. Just might throw a skirt in there, depending on what you're wearing, or a dress. So when dressing business professional, make sure your dress is tidy. Make sure your slacks are ironed. Once again, button downs or polos. If you're wearing skirts, down to the knee or lower is appropriate. Dark color suits and ties are often more appropriate. Once again, contingent on the business that we are in. And then also includes a button down blouse or a blazer, full suit. Um, and that's what you see lawyers and doctors and generally wear, or Wall Street workers generally wear a full professional business attire. And what they always say: dress for success, dress for the job that you want. So if you're trying to move up, try and dress for that occasion. If you're happy where you are, as long as you're neat and professional, keep doing what you're doing. Next. Next one. So then we want to our shoes. We must keep in mind heels 1 to 3 inches. This general work wear. Loafers and or flats are also acceptable. Opera pumps, buck shoes, Oxford shoes are also presentable for professional wear. And then you have a standard dress code: charcoal and navy suits, uh, shirt, you had a button down with this outfit as well. Button down shirt tucked in your pants always with a belt for the clean look. Necktie and or bow tie continued on once again your environment. And then dress shoes should be black or brown preferably. And again, depending on your organization, ask the right questions. Make sure that you are um, appropriate for the job. Next. So it's good to business casual is good for meetings, interviews, work, conferences, board meetings, etc. And FPAs were a little different. When meeting with families, we want to be presentable, and we should be appropriate and clean. But we also want to meet our families where they are as well. So we don't want to come too overly professional because that can be intimidating. So we don't necessarily need to be as formal. So at certain times we could wear maybe jeans with nice pair of shoes, uh, preferably a polo, and once again, contingent on your employee handbook. But meet your families where they are, and try not to intimidate them because that might leave more work for you to try and open up the family to um, provide services because they're going to be a bit closed off to that. Next. The next part we're going to go over is language, or the different types of language when conducting ourselves with our families and in the workplace. So, types of language, just be aware of is your words, emails, and letters. How does that appear coming back and forth? Are we saying good morning, good afternoon? Are we providing the subject, things along that nature? And then nonverbal, paralinguistics, body language, sign language, and posture. We want to be aware that, once again, how we communicate is not just with our words, and people are watching, people are listening. Um, and if we're not holding ourselves to our own accountabilities, we can be off putting, we could be threatening because culture is also involved. So, eye contact might be a go in our society, but if you go to another country, eye contact is not really appropriate, especially maybe young to an adult or vice versa. So be aware of our body languages. Some of them, phonology is the rule of speech sounds and how phonemes are used. Morphology is the rule of word structure, how morphemes are used. So that would be sentences, whether you're verbally speaking or you're writing an email or a fax. Syntax is the rule of sentences and structure. So let's be aware when we're sending emails, doesn't matter if we know the person, proper punctuation, capitalize, indented your paragraph, things along that nature. And then pragmatics is the rule that occurs within social situations. So once again, being aware of your environment, work environment, who's going to be reading, and most importantly, your emails can be forwarded on to if someone or have someone attached to it after it left um, you to its proper designation. So be aware of the language we're using and how we are structuring it, because you don't know who else is going to review this email later on down the line. Next. So, language in the workplace. Why is language important in the workplace? Having a good, strong foundation language builds your skills, enables better communication and understanding. A lot of us have, especially in the English language, words can leave room for interpretation. And if you're aware of the language you're using and we're straight to the point, no one should be lost in translation of what you're trying to convey while working with our families and our colleagues. So it helps to work effectively with people from other cultures as well. It builds solid relationships. It reduces friction, which helps develop trust and ensures families are heard, valued, and understood. In general, must allow, employees to speak their native language. Let's keep this in mind during work hours, unless it interferes with reasonable and necessary business operations. If two coworkers speak the same language but they're working effectively, we're not allowed to tell someone they can't speak their language. Now, if they're gossiping on the phone, they're not on lunch break, or they're hanging out by the water cooler for too long, and it's in a different language. It's not the language that should be the words. I mean, it's the problem. It's that they're not working on company time. So being aware of why we might have to step in and redirect our employees to get back to work is completely different than just having them speak their language. So let's just be aware of that. Next. So moving forward, grammar. What is grammar? In linguistics, grammar is natural language. It is a set of structural rules for speakers or writers and usage to create clause, phrases, and words. So the three golden rules are: as a sentence is a group of words that make a complete thought, meaning, and or idea. Every English sentence starts with a subject followed by a verb, and every English sentence must have a verb. So, what this is mostly pertaining to people who are too friendly on emails. Let's just try and keep our grammar to a business standard, and we'll always be in a good way. Excuse me. And, what does it mean to hold ourselves accountable? Uh, just a couple people in the chat, if you want to throw it in. Holding ourselves accountable. What does that mean? Anybody?
I think like taking responsibility for our actions, whether they're good or bad.
Thank you. Someone, Megan said, sticking to a word, doing what is right, even if no one's around. And Katrine, this moves so fast. Said adhering to office guidelines, accepting consequences for actions or inactions. Stacy said maintain professionalism, good work ethic, and values, doing what we say we will do, and taking responsibility even when things don't go as planned. And if you make a mistake, say so and make efforts correct. Exactly. Holding yourselves accountable is crucial for any professional and personal areas that we find ourselves in. It involves, as you said, taking responsibility for actions, decisions, and the outcomes, ensuring we remain honest, transparent in our commitments by setting clear goals, regularly evaluating our progress. We can identify areas of improvement and learn from our mistakes. Accountability fosters a sense of integrity and builds trust with colleagues and peers as others recognize our commitment to meeting our obligations. Um, Next slide. So, yeah, as we stated, accept your mistakes, be accountable, acknowledge and own them. Don't blame anybody else. And then take the responsibility to learn from them. See how you could do better. And if you don't know, we ask these questions, or we could go to other areas of training to help build upon these areas in which we might find ourselves in need of a bit more structure. Next. So be reliable. Reliable employees are punctual, which is they're on time. We said they're prepared. They're dependable. They're adaptable. They're flexible and trustworthy. Being reliable allows managers and coworkers to trust you, and your ability to complete tasks on time is directed. Next. So honesty is a huge one. It is a crucial aspect of professionalism. Never lie about your lack of specific skills or strengths. Instead, let people know how you can compensate for where you need areas of improvement. Be truthful at work. It is valuable because it helps tasks to be completed more quickly and in a quality way. And practice honesty when it presents itself. To be honest. We learn this from young. We learn this in school. We should be doing this in the workplace as well. Honesty gets you very far. And once again, don't lie about what you can do, and specify if you need training in areas. And that way, someone else who's more qualified in a specific area of work can take that load off you, and you can put your strengths to where the work still needs to be completed. So it's important for us to set goals. Even if your job is not setting goals, you should have goals for yourself. So you should be able to know what you're trying to obtain, how long it will be for you to get there, or what it takes for you to get to that finished goal. And then you want to track. And this is something not only that we're doing for ourselves, especially as FPAs, we want to help our families do this because they're the drivers of the services that they came to receive. So we, by living through by example, we set our own goals, we set timelines, we check on them and revisit them, and that goal might need to be a bit longer. We might have bit off more than we could chew, but this is how we get to learn ourselves and make sure that we are holding ourselves accountable for what we say we can and will do, and what that process looks like. So ask questions. One of my favorite sayings from Young is, "A closed mouth doesn't get fed." Obviously, there's always examples, but if we don't ask, how are we ever going to know? So asking your new coworkers questions after introductions can help create a two-way conversation and connection. This can lead to positive interactions and teamwork because a lot of us come in and we stick to ourselves until someone breaks that ice. But it does you no wrong to ask, "Hey, where are you coming from? How long have you done this work?" There's already been an introduction. It's a great way to network and give out the chance to ask in-depth questions about your role, company culture, and what they do in a more casual atmosphere. And don't be afraid to ask the questions that matter at work. So when it pertains to your work, don't ever look at what might be on your mind as a dumb question, especially if it's going to help you do your work effectively. So asking the right questions can impact the outcomes of the work and services you provide. And asking questions when you're unsure about a particular test helps to eliminate mistakes and allows you to use your time wisely and effectively. So there's especially nowadays, there's professionalism online and there's professionalism in person. So online professionalism focuses on clear communication through digital channels, maintaining a professional appearance and environment during working video calls, managing time effectively, and safeguarding confidentiality in a virtual space. It also involves being responsive and adhering to online etiquette, such as muting when not speaking to avoid distractions. And that's also if you have a busy background, blurring your background or having your company logo in the background while you're conducting meetings. In person professionalism is emphasizes appropriate attire, positive body language, punctuality, and respectful interpersonal interactions. It includes being fully present, respecting boundaries, and using face to face communication to build relationships and resolve conflicts. Both forms of professionalism require adapting to the context while maintaining core values of respect, integrity, and effective communication. So let's have a respect for diversity, embracing diverse perspectives and ideas, valuing the contributions of individuals from different backgrounds. So that doesn't mean you have to take everything in, but see it for what it is. And you might have to put it in the parking lot for now, but there's a lot to learn by just hearing and learning about different perspectives. Let's avoid assumptions or stereotypes based on factors such as race, gender, religion, or sexual orientation. Treating everyone with fairness and respect. Pretty much check your biases, be aware of what you might be biased towards, but be open to the fact that the people we're working with, they've walked through similar shoes or maybe different shoes, but you know what? They're here for a reason. And people who came into this line of work, especially with FPAs, we all have a different walk of life that got us through this door, but something in it made us want to get back. So let's hold our stereotypes and our biases and just know that we're in this work together. Actively promoting inclusivity by creating environments where all the individuals feel welcome, supported, and valued. and being open-minded and willing to learn from each other's experiences and perspectives, fostering a culture of acceptance and understanding within the workplace. A peaceful, safe environment is a productive one. So, conclusion: business etiquette is important because it creates a professional, mutual, respectful atmosphere and improves communication, which helps an office to be a positive, functioning workplace. People often feel better about their jobs when they feel respected, which helps translates into a better customer, family, employee relationship as well. Thank you. These are my references, and it's open. If anyone has any questions or comments, or you're more than welcome to. You can stop sharing, Crystal. Come off mute or ask in the chat. Questions, comments. Thank you very much, Lana. So I really came up with this just some context. Like I've been, as I stated before, that I worked for profits. So and I started off in for profits, and I transitioned into nonprofit. And then I've seen other people come in, and you see how they carry themselves, and I'm like, whoa. Did anyone? And that's where my bias came. Did anyone teach you this? But not everybody gets to learn or has been taught. Danny Ohime, I hope I said your name right.
Hi. I just wanted to make a comment about the first video that we watched.
Mm-hmm.
While I think some of it's what she says holds weight, sometimes when you're like, if I feel like if I came into a home dressed like her with her over the top, like whatever, it might a lot of my families would be turned off by that, to be totally honest.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, while I think that what she says is valid, you have to kind of, you know, the families that you're working with, because some of them would honestly, some of them would find it as a, like I said, like a turn off, and just it would cause them to shut down.
I agree, and that's
Because
why I stated you must know your audience, right? And
yeah, like they
know your
want
family.
somebody that's
Meet them where they are. So if you know this family is in this type of lifestyle or this culture, the chances are they came in the office already, so you kind of gauge them, right? So you're not going to go in necessarily like that first video in that perspective. That video is really generalized what business attire looks like, and that's why I always keep bringing back to FPAs. We know what we're doing and why we're in the work we're in, and we also know what it looks like walking in to speak to a so-called professional doctor, or dressed for that way, or someone overly bubbly. It can be off-putting, cannot be yours. You may think this person, and I've been there. I say I've been on both, from the youth and the family, and I've learned one thing that I've always learned: if you go in knowing that this family just needs help, and what type of situation you're going in, me will always be a polo, maybe some jeans, and I'm coming in there calm. Hi, is I'm here to help give you the best support. I don't ever say I'm here to help you, because that's what a doctor would say. I'm not a doctor. I've just walked in your shoes. I'm glad that you brought that up, and just we just have to keep in mind, meet our families where they are, because we don't know what they've gone through. We don't know their expertise. We don't know, but that shouldn't matter, because they're just here for help. But that's not, bombard them with our professionalism, our degrees, our bubbliness, our fancy clothes. Because how are we going to build that bridge of communication and trust if they feel inadequate, less educated, or insecure next to you? And that should never be the issue when we're working with families. So
we
no, thank you.
we actually to tag off that a little, we meet every morning and go over all of our cases because I work for Youth Act. And one of our youth in the program said last time he met with the therapist, I don't want to meet with the clinical support worker anymore because they're too happy. And she does, and she has a very bubbly personality. So like now that I'm watching, we all we laughed about it, at the meeting we laughed about it a little. We thought it was kind of fun. But now that I'm watching this video, I'm like, that's probably what the kid was referring to. So it makes, like, to see it at this angle, it kind of makes sense a little.
Yeah, someone put toxic positivity. I won't lie. Like, so when I was younger and I was seeking therapy, I came across a therapist that appeared too bubbly. And from then right then, it didn't matter how good you were to me. Like
Yeah.
it was the frequency. There was something about it. It didn't resonate with me. But someone who's coming in calm, collected, maybe a little, can throw humor here and there. All right, this person seems a little real. They're down to earth. They're not playing off of they're smarter than I am or whatever. I would be more likely to give you my attention and see what because it's a partnership, whether it's peer
Yeah.
to peer, FPA, or a therapeutic. Is a type of relationship. Now, what type of relationship are we trying to foster? Completely is contingent on how we walk through that door and how they see us. So definitely, carrying.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to this conversation, Danny. I love your feedback and totally see, your comments and where you're coming from. I think when we are talking about how FPAs dress and what's appropriate, what's not, it really depends on the situation that we're in, right? So I agree that we don't want to be in full business attire when we're going to somebody's home and meeting them. A full suit with a blazer may not be appropriate, but you also want to come off professionally because we are professionals. So business casual is kind of the term that that I think of in that kind of setting. However, if you are attending, a school meeting, a teams meeting, if you're accompanying the family to a lawyer's office or a court, something like that, that's more of a professional setting, you may want to think about, investing in some, I don't know if it needs to be like a full on suit, but something a little bit more professional for those types of settings. If that kind of makes sense, you have to kind of think about the environment that you're walking into. And I think kind of TJ was kind of talking around that point as well.
Yeah, it's once again, we have to address for our environment. So, like Carrie stated, if we're going with a family to court or school meeting, we're going to dress professional. But if we're just going to meet you out of the community, or you're just coming for a follow up, fill out some documentations, you might not want to come overbearing. But once again, that's knowing yourself, knowing your families, and your environment. Most importantly, because that really sells who we are and how, once again, reflection on the organization. So all of this kind of ties in. Just be self-aware and follow, to the best of your abilities, and ask questions if you don't know. Ask those families. I might come from a meeting earlier and I don't have time to dress down. Is it all right if I continue to come in the suit that I have? Sometimes it might seem tedious, but it's important, and makes sure that that family knows that you're thinking about them, that they're just not another case number. Everything will tie in as long as you pay attention to our purpose. And yeah.
Absolutely. And somebody put in the chat a really good comment. Some people have felt turned off because the belief that you might be throwing in their face your success sometimes is challenging. It is definitely challenging. Yeah, you kind of have to walk that fine line of looking very professional, but also kind of meeting people where they're at, right? Ripped jeans and a low-cut tank top is probably not going to be appropriate in any setting that an FPA walks into, but some really nice pants or even jeans. There's some jeans out there that I would consider appropriate for business casual. Some of the darker jeans that are really well maintained and in good shape paired with, a business casual top, I think would be appropriate. You also want to be true to yourself. If you're not somebody who enjoys dressing up all the time, take that into account. How can you still go to these professional meetings a little bit more dressed up than maybe you would on a regular basis, so that you're more professional, but staying true to yourself. I one time had a YPA that I hired, and his norm was to wear dress pants, a button-down shirt, dress shirt, and sometimes a professional vest with it. Sometimes even a bow tie or a tie. That's what he was comfortable in, and that's what his attire in his closet looked like. So after his interview and onboarding, I did have a conversation with him that he doesn't have to wear dress clothes all the time when he's meeting with youth. And he disclosed to me that that's what his wardrobe is and that's what he's comfortable in. So I told him that he was more than welcome to wear what he was comfortable with. Just, be mindful that you may at times need to explain to the youth, like, this is how I dress normally, like even when I'm off of work, this is just me and how I dress. So be true to yourself too. I think that's important.
Could I say something really quick? I don't know how to raise my hand.
That's fine.
So, what I was kind of thinking, and like I wasn't an FPA, but I was like a community health worker on the reservation. And so, when I was going on home visits, I would dress down, but also remembering that we're role modeling to these families, and if there's something that isn't in their norm, if they see it and start to learn about it and talk about it with them, and kind of educate them a little bit too. So then that way we're not just like, triggering them or however, but having these conversations so we're uplifting and also empowering our families because what we're also trying to do is get them in the mindset of that they're going to have to advocate for themselves one day, so that's just kind of my take on it.
Exactly. I mean, you were right.
And I'd like to go a little off of the dressing topic, but where you had in the PowerPoint that it solidifies the professionalism of the service, that really stuck out to me. I felt like, I guess the example that came to my mind is I work with the families of kiddos in the community residences. So we also have our county family peer advocates that can work with the families either prior to or after the kids' residence with the CR. But I know of a family that did not like the county family peer advocate, and they were very angry when they first got to meet me that I was going to be working with them. But with my professionalism with this family, they finally were able to see the professionalism of the service that they were receiving and our agency. And it was literally just they didn't click. The family and the previous worker didn't click, but with my maintaining my professionalism, it did. It showed them that our agency and the services that they were receiving are also of professional nature, and they needed that. They needed that in order to open up, and that way I could meet them where they were.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else have any follow-up comments? All right. Um, I'd like to thank everybody for coming to participate in going on this journey with us on professionalism in the workplace. And I hope we gathered some information, given us some new perspectives or a refresher on our values from the organization to how we should carry ourselves, especially we're working with families or if we're trying to move up in an organization. Keeping these in mind is beneficial for our growth. So, if no one else has anything to say, I will not keep you, and I could give you back some time for the rest of your day. And I hope
Wow.
everyone has a great weekend. Crystal?
No, I was just going to say thank you, TJ, for your presentation on professionalism in the workplace. I would encourage everyone to register for the next upcoming TA calls. I will drop the link in the chat. You can get yourself registered in advance. And like TJ said, we will give you back a few minutes. I would just ask that you just take a look at the FPA events flyer and get yourself registered for the next upcoming ones. Thank you guys again and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank
Just so you
you.
know, the next TA will be on gratitude for November Thanksgiving. All right, from our very own um, Consequana Steffens.